Welcome to the Art of Healing podcast, the podcast that is dedicated to helping you connect with your mind, body, and spirit. This is Charlize, physician and Reiki master, and thank you so much for joining me. I would like to remind you that although I'm a physician, the information you receive in this podcast is for educational and entertainment purposes only. You can find my full disclaimer at my website, www.healingartshealthandwellness.com. If you like what you hear on this podcast, sign up for my weekly newsletter. Check your show notes for more information and for the link to sign up. Thank you. Hello and welcome back to the Art of Healing podcast. This is Charlize, and for today's episode, we are going to discuss the role of gratitude. Particularly, I want to discuss the role of gratitude in the practice of Reiki, but this is a good topic as far as gratitude in every part of life. I had done a blog post some time ago, probably about 3 or 4 months ago, where I wanted to explore the 5 Reiki precepts. For listeners that aren't familiar with these, the practice of Reiki has a few cornerstones that help create the foundation of the practice. So one of these are called the 5 Reiki precepts. Of course, Reiki practitioners will be familiar with these. But for the rest of us, those 5 precepts are very simple. The way that I think of them are there are 2 of the precepts direct us to do things that we want to do less of, and 2 of the precepts encourage us to do things we want to do more of. 3 of the precepts are things that we want to do. So 2 are negative, we need those less, and 3 are positive, we want to do those more. And when I was doing my training and learning Reiki, I approached it that way to help myself remember. So the 5 Reiki precepts are: do not worry, do not get angry, work hard, be kind to others, be grateful. So, of course, the 2 that we want to do less of are we want to worry less, we want to get angry less. And then the 3 we want to do more of are be kind to all living beings, work hard, and to be grateful. So, of all those precepts, the being grateful is one that I think we can all agree can impact our lives in a positive way in so many ways. So it's always worth exploring the role of gratitude and what role it plays in your life. I am finding myself in definitely the past year engaging in the practice of gratitude probably more than ever. And I think this is because there has been so many times in the past year as a practicing physician, or since the start of the pandemic, that at times I really felt some helplessness for myself, for my patients, especially during those uncertain times at the beginning of the pandemic where there were so few answers. And it was apparent that, this virus was really going to impact us, and we had so few answers. So gratitude for me in difficult times, but then in good times, seems to serve as a stabilizer, sort of to help return me back to the midline of how I'm feeling. So when I felt extremely nervous and wondered what was going to happen to all of us, I would engage gratitude at that point by being grateful at least that I was there. At least I could answer some questions for myself, my patients, my family, my clients. Being grateful for those that were healthy. And then as we got further into the pandemic, definitely being grateful for these survivors that I could learn from, those that contracted the virus and recovered from it. And definitely as patients, they were, I have to say, I really felt like so many of them were extremely giving in their advice that I could use to help my other patients, things that they found helped them, experiences that they had in their symptoms. Um, I took care of quite a few healthcare workers that contracted the virus, especially at the beginning. And I was really profoundly amazed at their loving attitude towards their experience of having been exposed and contracted this virus, and then being more than willing to share what helped get them through these rough times. And then I was grateful that in a way I was sort of a conduit to help them, to their taking their information to help those later that would contract the virus. So in one way, if you're going through something that's unpleasant, painful, uncomfortable, um, there's always something you can take from the experience that can help you be grateful. So I know for me that was one place that it really seemed to help when. And it's not that I've always felt that I had all the answers or anything like that. Definitely, I think for all of us, the older you get, and then of course I practice in medicine, I'm finding that is day by day, there's much more that I really don't know than I do know. But definitely I could take gratitude in at least being there, being a conduit that could help, even though I didn't have the definitive answers. Of course, when things are going great in your life and you're vibing and everything's clicking into place and you're in alignment, that's a nice time to soak up all the gratitude that you have for your life, yourself, those that you love, maybe those that you don't like, even. Yeah, you can actually get grateful for someone you're not, especially crazy about, or even challenges you or that you just may dislike. Um, that's an interesting way to see it because those kind of relationships often are teaching you something about yourself in the world. And I found being grateful in a difficult relationship helps me to learn about myself. So, of course, when things are going well, that's an awesome time and, of course, an easy time to be grateful for who you are, where you are in life, what's happening next, especially if you've got, a nice upcoming event or something you're looking forward to. That's a great time to have gratitude for a vacation or gratitude for a promotion or gratitude because you're closing on a house. So, and I think in those times, you can bottle up your gratitude and share it. Not necessarily like you're bragging, but I think a good way to see those times is maybe take those emotions, kind of meditate on it, and then let it sort of glow outside of you so that maybe some of your good vibes can roll off to someone else. Maybe even in like small talk, or if you're grabbing a coffee somewhere, maybe some of your goodness can spread to someone that may be really needing it. Then, of course, and I've often wondered if this might be the most challenging, is finding gratitude in times of boredom or stagnation. I think we all have times in life where we feel like we're not moving ahead, or maybe feel stuck, or maybe internally we're sort of wishing or wanting for a change, but it's not arrived yet or it's not there yet for a number of reasons. And although I think probably finding gratitude during difficult times because the emotions are strong can come easily, finding gratitude in times when things are going well is very easy. But I personally feel that finding gratitude in times of stagnation or when things are sort of slowing down, aren't moving, that might be the most challenging. we as humans are sort of primed for patterns, challenges. We look for them, we breed them, and we create them, absolutely. So when we get to those times when things seem to be at a halt, it can, and you feel restless, that can be when it's hardest to find some gratitude for that experience. I myself, I definitely think I suffer from that and feeling like, oh, what's going to happen next? Let's get something going. But maybe the way to approach that is finding gratitude for that silence and that peace, and maybe seeing that as times of like, well, you're not being called to do something else, or there's not a challenge, or it's not some high drama coming up. So you can use that quiet time to build gratitude for even the tiniest things, like your home, your health, your decorations, just little things like that. It certainly can't create any harm. The practice of gratitude is frequently done in several types of meditation. And one of the things that we know about gratitude is that it definitely helps to improve the overall mood when it's been used in mindfulness meditation. It creates a sense of calm. Medical science, as well as psychological science, has been taking an interest in meditation as a health intervention, a behavioral health intervention for decades now. And it's pretty interesting. There's a database that I use frequently that's, and I often forget to advise people that it's open to the public. It's called Pubmed, and it's completely free. It's a research database where many medical and scientific research documents go. So, just out of curiosity, I decided to do a search on just gratitude, which is kind of a fun thing to put into a database like PubMed, where your top research topics will be coronavirus 19 interventions, cancer interventions, myocardial infarction interventions. So usually very hard science to quote, but I did a search on just gratitude just to see what would come up. And pretty interesting, there were actually about 600 relevant studies on the practice of gratitude. One study in particular, which is called the Positive Psychology and Gratitude Interventions, a randomized clinical trial, study participants were grouped into two primary groups. One in which the group was tasked with keeping a gratitude journal, and one that kept a journal of just neutral events for about 2 weeks. And this is interesting. The study showed that the individuals that kept a gratitude journal overall showed a little bit of an improvement in their affect. They felt happier, they felt more life satisfaction, and it reduced feelings of depression and negative emotions. So that's pretty fascinating, because something as simple as a gratitude journal created measurable changes in these individuals. There is another interesting study looking at the effect of gratitude meditation on the neural networks and the brain-heart coupling, where the researchers looked to see what effect gratitude interventions had on the heart rate. And this is very interesting that gratitude actually showed the individuals had a decrease in their heart rate, implying that they had an overall decrease in their stress levels. So, and I'll make sure to include in my show notes some of this research, but I find that very interesting. It's such a simple act. In healthcare, especially in the healthcare that's based in behavioral health, but I'm a primary care doctor. I think many individuals would be surprised how often I am diagnosing and treating mental health illnesses. And it's actually quite common, becoming more common, unfortunately, because of the pandemic. So I think it's nice to shine the light on a really simple intervention in which you can use just gratitude to improve your mind and your mood and your body immediately. In my book, 21-Day Meditation Journey, I outline daily activities that can be performed. The purpose of my book is to help individuals who are wanting to get into meditation, or those that maybe have been meditating and are wanting sort of a program or something to do daily, or wanting to return to their practice. So I created 21 simple exercises to help. And in one of the chapters, day 12, the meditation exercise is actually gratitude journaling. So even as you're listening to this podcast, or definitely something you can do later on your own time, when you're doing a gratitude journal, it's very simple. You get your journal or something to write with if you don't normally keep a journal. You set a timer. In terms of a meditation practice, I really like the idea of setting a timer. It removes a layer of stress so that you don't stress yourself about doing the activity until something else happens. So even if you're just going to do a simple gratitude journaling, I would recommend setting a timer depending on your comfort level. I'm usually recommending 5 minutes for someone that doesn't normally meditate. Otherwise, I think it's good to set it for 10 to 15 minutes if you are comfortable with sitting still and, quiet. An aspect of my book that I reinforce pretty frequently is that when you're getting ready to do one of these exercises and you're setting your intention, you want to try to set yourself up well, or as I call, sit well, which is if you're going to be journaling, I assume you'll probably be sitting somewhere. So you may want to plant your feet firmly, or if you want to sit cross-legged on the floor, you can, and just make sure you're planted firmly, and then maybe even doing a couple seated cat-cows, which helps to open up the spine and on a deeper level opens up the energy channels. And then you simply grab your journal. You may want to take 3 deep mindful breaths with your eyes closed. And then just say to yourself, I'm going to write down everything I'm grateful for within the time that you've allotted. And then you just simply start to write. And I encourage you, when you do this gratitude journaling, try not to limit yourself. Whatever comes up, simply write it down as quickly as you can. You don't want to place any limits on what you're doing, because later you're going to review this and the little things may add up to a really nice big picture. So at the completion, once your timer goes off, then you'll read over your journal, have a look, and you don't need to act on it. You're just going to look at it. But then sometimes you might want to maybe snap a picture with your cell phone, or just keep the list with you throughout the day. And then you can be reviewing that list, or if you get fancy with it, you can pull things from the list and use one of the graphic design tools like Canva or something like that, and put them on a pretty picture and make a wallpaper for your cell phone, or you can go wild with it. And actually, I think you really should, because that gratitude, you putting that positive energy into the list, is going to feed back into you. And we now have a huge body of scientific literature that tells us that it's good for your body. And then, of course, you'll know that it's good for your soul. So once again, thank you so much for listening to today's podcast. I will make sure to put links for the scientific articles that I pulled, as well as, if you're ever interested, the database that I frequently use. I am excited that my book, 21 Day Meditation Journey, is now available on Amazon. So I'll make sure to place a link there if you're interested. And as always, I do have a 21 day meditation challenge that's available at healingartshealthandwellness.com. So definitely check those out if that's something you're interested in. And to close, I am very grateful for my listeners. I am so grateful that you open up your ears and open up your heart to listen to me during this time in your day. So as you listen, I do want you to know that in my gratitude journaling, you are in it. Definitely the time that you spend with me. I know we are all busy. I know individuals, you all have so much to do. So believe me, I am grateful for you being a listener. Thank you so much. Thank you for listening to The Art of Healing. And until next week, we'll reconnect. Bye-bye. Thank you so much for joining me for this episode of the Art of Healing podcast. Once again, this is Charlize. You can find out more about me at www.healingartshealthandwellness.com. Did you know I have a blog as well as online courses? Check your show notes to sign up for more information about Healing Arts Health and Wellness. Thank you. Please feel free to share this episode with your friends, family, and loved ones.